This single decision still controls Britain today. Dawn broke over London, unaware it would witness a nation change forever. Fog rolled through the streets as history quietly held its breath. Church bells rang, not knowing they marked the end of an old order. Parliament stood tall, heavy with centuries of unquestioned power. Inside its walls, voices trembled with fear and hope alike. Ink-stained papers carried ideas dangerous enough to reshape a kingdom. The crown's authority no longer felt absolute. Nobles whispered, sensing the ground shifting beneath their privilege. Outside, the people waited, unseen but no longer silent. Industrial smoke darkened the sky, mirroring a nation's unrest. Factory workers rose before sunrise, unaware their future was being debated. Children labored, while leaders argued over freedom. Pamphlets spread through taverns like sparks before a fire. Words became weapons sharper than swords. The idea of representation refused to die. Tradition clashed with progress in heated debate. Some feared chaos more than injustice. Others feared injustice more than change. Every speech echoed with the weight of history. Silence followed arguments that could not be undone. Britain's past watched closely from the shadows. Kings of old seemed to listen from their portraits. Power questioned itself for the first time. The empire's confidence began to crack. Laws once sacred were suddenly negotiable. Privilege no longer felt permanent. Authority no longer felt unquestioned. The room grew tense as votes approached. Quills hovered, ready to seal the future. Outside, the city waited in uneasy calm. Carriages passed, unaware of the turning tide. Markets opened while history paused. The river Thames flowed, indifferent but eternal. Newspapers rushed to predict the unthinkable. Rumors moved faster than truth. Fear spread among those who had everything to lose. Hope spread among those with nothing left. The old Britain resisted with all its strength. The new Britain refused to disappear. A decision loomed like a storm. Hands trembled as the moment arrived. A single vote carried the weight of generations. The chamber fell silent. History leaned forward. Power shifted without a single shot fired. No crown fell, yet authority weakened. No blood spilled, yet change was permanent. Britain crossed a line it could never retreat from. Democracy took its first quiet breath. The empire remained, but it was no longer the same. Some walked out angry, others relieved. None walked out unchanged. Outside, life continued unaware of its future. That day planted seeds that could not be uprooted. Reform became inevitable. Resistance became futile. The people were no longer invisible. Power learned it could be challenged. Tradition learned it could evolve. The nation chose reform over revolution. Years later, the impact would become clear. Voting rights slowly expanded. Absolute authority slowly faded. Change arrived not with violence, but persistence. Britain rewrote its identity line by line. The empire's image shifted before the world. Stability survived because flexibility existed. The past loosened its grip on the future. The people gained a voice that would never be silenced. Democracy grew quietly, patiently. History books would struggle to capture this moment. There was no single hero, only collective courage. There was no battlefield, only belief. There was no victory parade, only realization. The greatest revolutions are often silent. Britain proved change did not require destruction. Authority learned to listen. The governed learned to speak. Power became accountable. The future became negotiable. That day did not end struggle. It began responsibility. It redefined what leadership meant. It reshaped the bond between ruler and ruled. Britain stepped into modern history. The crown remained, but control was shared. Tradition survived by adapting. The nation chose progress without chaos. History turned without a roar. It turned with courage. A quiet decision changed centuries. Stone walls witnessed a new era. The old world faded without realizing it. The new world arrived without announcing itself. Britain was no longer frozen in time. The future stood open. Power was no longer untouchable. The people were no longer powerless. The day passed like any other. But the United Kingdom was never the same again.